waiting for my people to get in here. If you are here and you have any questions, I run this live so I can answer questions. If you can hear me, please let me know. I'm using AirPods just so I'm more audible. So let me know if they're working or not working. Yes. We're talking about today. So today, my topic is too exhausted to get healthy, but I typically just answer questions. So feel free to interrupt me. This is a live that you can interrupt me. Like, you don't have to wait for me to finish saying what I'm saying. Just go ahead and interrupt me and I will prioritize your question over the topic that I'm discussing tonight. Yes. And I did not see this. No, I didn't. And I basically just run my mouth in my lives. Yes. So good to have you here. Thank you for coming. Everyone, thank you for coming. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about being too exhausted to lose weight. Because as a coach now, one thing I'm realizing with the clients that I work with is that everything has context. And I think sometimes the drawback of watching fitness creators, and I'm a fitness creator myself, a brand new one, so I'm still learning the ropes. But one thing that I realize about fitness content on social media is that I'm not saying that the creator has this intention. I'm not saying that this is what they're trying to do. Okay. But I think an unintended effect is making fitness look like something that can only work if it's almost like full time, right? Or it can only work if you have all this time and you have all this energy, and you don't really have anything else going on. And so you can kind of dedicate yourself to your fitness journey. I find that fitness content sometimes has that unintended suggestion, right? And the truth is, a lot of fitness creators are doing that as their full-time job, right? Yes. So I used to believe that for the longest time. I used to think that if I don't dedicate all this time and effort and energy to my fitness journey, then it's not going to work, right? Yes. But I think for the majority of us, that's just not, it's just not sustainable. It's not just, it doesn't make sense, right? Because we have full lives. Many of us are parents. We have full-time jobs. Some of us have two jobs. Some of us have jobs and businesses. So I feel one of the things that I try to do with the women that I coach is I try to help empower them to realize that fitness as a part of your life can still be effective. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It doesn't have to be I'm spending hours and hours at the gym, for example, or I'm spending hours and hours meal prepping. And if I don't do that, then whatever, results I experience are not going to last. Yes. So sometimes it is very valid to feel too exhausted to get yourself healthy, right? To lose whatever amount of weight you need to lose. In my case, it was 150 pounds, right? And counting, maybe it's about getting stronger. So maybe in your case, it's not necessarily, oh, I have all this weight to lose, but you're just feeling weaker. You want to strengthen your muscles, you want to strengthen your body, right? And to do that, you need to spend time training, you need to spend time working out, right? But for some of us, and I know this was true for me, I felt exhausted. Even the thought of going to the gym would exhaust me, right? I would even accomplish waking up early in the morning, but I would be so exhausted still laying there in my bed that I would just go back to sleep, right? And I think it can be very easy to feel like a failure when that is the reality for you. Because you watch all these fitness creators, you see them waking up at 4 a.m., you see them spending hours at the gym, or what looks like they're spending hours at the gym. The meal prepping thing really used to irritate me, to be very honest with you. The meal prepping thing, I don't have anything against meal prepping in concept, but the practice of it really used to irritate me because I just didn't understand how people were able to, get all these containers and, and in my mind, I'm looking at all those containers and I'm like, okay, by day 3, I'm probably going to be sick of this, So, but again, I had that belief that, oh, if I don't meal prep, then I can never get control of my eating, right? So that's the unintended suggestion is, oh, if you don't meal prep, then you're going to be eating any and everything, right? And you're not going to be able to stick to, a nutrition protocol, right? So that's what we're talking about today, right? Is how, what are ways that you can stay consistent with a fitness journey without feeling like you have to overhaul your entire life? Okay. That's what. Thank you for liking the live. Please, if you are here, could you please tap, tap, tap the screen and like the live? It helps me with visibility. It helps me with rankings, right? And it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. So thank you for liking the live. And if you are here, please ask your questions. I like my lives to be like a conversation. I haven't yet gotten the hang of like having guests. I haven't, I'm still brand new to TikTok Live, so I haven't really gotten the hang of having guests yet, but eventually I will get there. I think for me, the guest feature is more of like I wanna, if I'm talking with someone, I prefer to kind of know who they are. Maybe, they're like a mutual of mine on TikTok. Yeah. But the whole random, like people stopping, yeah, just for my nervous system, it doesn't, yeah, my nervous system is not able to handle that, at this time. Yes. So, but if you don't mind typing in the chat, I love having conversations. I love, reading questions and answering. If you have questions about me, I'm an open book. I'm very transparent. And so go ahead and ask your questions about my journey and I will answer every single one. Almost every single one. Sometimes I have like very probing questions. I'm like, why are you trying to know that? Yeah. But for the most part, I answer about 97% of the questions that are asked to me. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. Amaka, hey darling, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good to have you. Yes, thank you for liking the live. All of you who are liking the live, thank you for liking the live. I appreciate you. Yes. So, what was your starting weight? Mind, soul, and peace. Thank you for your question. What was my starting weight? So, the highest I weighed myself was 360 pounds. I was heavier than that, but I don't know what my true weight was because at 360, I stopped weighing myself. I went into denial and I was like, okay, if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. So I lived in denial for I think the last time I weighed myself at my heaviest, I was about 40, 41, and I didn't lock into my journey until almost 44. Yeah. So for a number of years, I knew I was heavier than that, but I just never checked because I was in denial. I was just like, you know what? I can't, I was overwhelmed. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to handle, avoidance, right? Yeah. So I was practicing avoidance. So I was above 360. I just don't know by maybe 370, 375, 380. I just don't know the exact number. Yes. Thank you for that question, Mind and Soul. Four sisters, you look amazing. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you. Amaka, I need the steps. Yes. Okay, so let me talk generally about the steps that I used and the steps that I coach the women that I work with through. Okay, so here are the steps. Okay, the first step is nutritionally, you need to give your body what it needs. And that's very different from what it wants. What your body wants is based on the habits that you have built over the years, right? Yes, in my case, it was sugar. Sugar, 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 and more sugar. And if it wasn't sugar, it was carbs, bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, everything carbs, right? Yes. But that is not the healthiest for the body, right? And particularly if you are a woman over 40, what I'm sharing right now is even more important for you. So you want protein, you want protein, and you also want a good amount of fat. And then you want your carbs to be moderate at most. Okay. I don't push low carb. I don't push keto. If you want to do low carb, that's fine. If you want to do keto, that's fine. I don't push those protocols because for a lot of us, it's too restrictive. And I don't believe that something has to be like super restrictive in order to be effective. So what I say is moderate carbs at most, right? Moderate carbs. The lower you go, generally, the better. But to a point, I feel like if you go too low, then you're kind of like, you're antsy, your body's like, yeah, what is this, And in my case, low carb and keto never worked for me long term. I just couldn't stay right. So this success that I had wasn't low carb and it wasn't keto. I promise you. I was eating bread, I was eating rice, I was eating non-bread, I was eating pita. Yeah. But it's just a matter of like the proportion of the carbs to the other macronutrients. You want protein to be fairly high, right? And the thing is, particularly if you're eating animal protein, you're going to get the fat for free, so you don't even have to like deliberately add fat, right? If you're eating animal protein, you're going to get the fat for free. You don't have to take off the skin. Eat the protein with the skin, and the skin is giving you the fat that you need. Yes, you need to eat enough. Okay, there's some of you, you're like really low calorie. It doesn't work. You might have some success, but you will be so miserable the older you get. Yes. So you need to eat enough calories and you need to eat protein. Yes. Okay. So that's the first step. Second step, heavy lifting. So you see it up there. Let me tell you what I discovered, particularly for women over 40. The more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolism. And the higher your resting metabolism, the more energy your body uses just to exist. I was a cardio queen. I would do the treadmill, though I hated it. I would do the elliptical. I would do hours and hours of cardio, and I stayed fat. I stayed fat. I stayed that, over here, right? When I started heavy lifting, so I'm not talking about like the 5 pound, little cute, it's cute, it kind of looks cute, but it's doing nothing for you, mama. Heavy. And now heavy is relative, right? When I started, for leg press, for example, heavy for me was 100 pounds. Now in the leg press, heavy for me is 350 pounds. Okay. I went from like leg pressing 100 pounds to now leg pressing 350. So when I started, heavy for me was 100. For some of you, heavy may be 70. So heavy is relative to where you are starting, but it needs to be heavy. You need to be putting in considerable efforts to move that weight for it to be heavy lifting. Why do I talk about heavy lifting? Why is that step 2? And let me just tell you, if you want like this, I call it my 3-pillar protocol. If you are interested in the specific protocol that I use to get this result, just go to the link in my bio and you will see a button there that says RH 3-pillar protocol. Go ahead and click that button. You can get this protocol straight in your email box. And it is the exact protocol that I use. No gatekeeping here. No gatekeeping. I will tell it all. Yes. So if you want it like in a nice PDF format, like illustrated and all of that, just go to the link in my bio, click it, click the button that says 3-pillar protocol, and you will get it for free in your inbox. And it kind of breaks everything down in there. Yes. So why is heavy lifting important? I said it because you build muscle. You build your chest, your back, your biceps, triceps, your quad, all these major muscles in your body. They are bigger, they are stronger, right? The high protein that you're eating is going to feed the growth and the development of those muscles that you are shredding in the gym, right? And then when those muscles build back, they build back stronger. And then muscle is metabolically active. So the more of it you have and the stronger your muscles are, the more calories your body needs just to exist. This is so important for women as we age, because naturally aging reduces our metabolic output for everybody across the board. And so as we age, we lose muscle and our metabolisms begin to drop. And so when you actively build and preserve your muscle as you age, you are actually turning back the clock in terms of like your metabolic health. So this isn't just about looking cute. I know I do. Right? But that wasn't what motivated me. When I was in my 20s and like early 30s, that was all it was about. I want to be cute. I want to be sexy. I want to be attractive to this one and that one. Yes. But I got to a certain age and I realized that it's no longer about being cute. It's about being healthy. It's about longevity. It's about flexibility. It's about mobility. It's about still being able to shake my ass in my 70s. Right? Like that's what it became for me. And so this is not like a vanity thing at all. It really isn't. Are you going to look good? Yes. Like over here, you see the way I look, the muscles were there. Abigail, what is it? My daughter. The muscles are here, but they were just covered with like layers and layers of fat, you know? So people say, oh, how did you get so curvy? I was always curvy, baby. I was just curvy and lumpy, right? But it was always there. They're like, oh, how did you? Right? Okay. I'm gonna come to I know you all are asking questions, but I wanted to answer the question about like the steps. So that's step 2. Now step 3 is optional. Step 3 over here is optional. But for me, it was a game changer. I ain't gonna lie. I don't gatekeep here. I will tell you all, right? This is optional. If you just do step 1 and step 2 and stay consistent, you'll be fine. But you see this third step right here, it was a game changer for me. And I'll tell you why. When I was doing step 1 and step 2, I was losing weight, but I have like the scale that shows you your body fat. And like my body fat percentage was going down, but it was going down like really little. Like say I would lose like 3 pounds in 1 week, but then my body fat percentage would be like maybe 0.5% or like 0.3% or 0.2%. You know what I mean? And I would do the calculation and I would be like, I want that percentage to like go down a little more with the weight that I'm losing, right? That didn't start happening until I started doing this. I can't say it because TikTok, will violate me. Not violate me. They will like, they'll give me a strike. Yes. But I can't say the word, but I know you know what it is, right? When I started this here, I started losing like 0.75% body fat, 1% body fat, like week to week or like every couple weeks, like like that was when that body fat percentage specifically started dropping like you wouldn't believe. Yes. And so we can talk a little bit more about that. So this is optional. Okay. It's not like a mandatory step. If I want to say mandatory, it would be these first 2. This is optional, but it is a game changer. And I wouldn't even get into the third step until you've like done the first 2 steps for like 4 to 5 months. You want like these 2 to be like solid in your foundation. This is like a supercharge. So this by itself is not necessarily going to get you like result, but this is almost like you're juicing, like remember the Fast and Furious movies when they hit the nitro? This is nitro, right? Like the car is already going fast. This is just going to give it a boost. Yes. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Let me go to all the comments that I missed. Okay. Okay. Bajablan, can you tell us more about the barriers you encounter? Oh my God. I love questions like that. The barriers that I encountered were so many. And I'll tell you the truth. A lot of the barriers were up here. So they were not necessarily barriers like in my physical environment or in my social environment. They were up here. I would say the biggest barrier that I had to overcome for myself, this is true for me, was I had to stop wasting my energy on dead ends. Dead end connections, dead end pursuits, dead end friendships, dead end relation. Like I had to call my power back to myself. That was one of the biggest things that helped me. Like prior to my transformation, I derived like a lot of self-esteem from what I did for other people. Hearing people say, oh, Arit, without you, I don't know what I would have done. So that was a dysfunction in my life. Right? I'm not even going to put it because who doesn't want help? Who doesn't want support? Who doesn't want someone like pouring incessantly into them? Like it's a human thing. So I'm not even putting it on the people. I put it on myself. Right? Because that was the source of a lot of my self-esteem. That was the source of a lot of my sense of value of myself. But like I'm living that way and I'm depleted. I mean, don't let the smile fool you. My ankles hurt, my knees, my hips, my lower back, my shoulder, like everything hurt. I was just a walking ball of inflammation. even as I was, being this like amazing person to like all these people, right? Like thinking for people, feeling for people, processing emotions for people, planning people's lives for them. Like it was ridiculous. Yeah. The biggest thing I did for myself was I shut that shit down. And I caught so much heat for it, still catching heat to this day, you know? Because like when people are used to you a certain way, once you like flip the switch, all of a sudden you're selfish, you're self-centered, you're self-absorbed, you're, like the accusations like start flying. Yes. But for me, yeah, like it was necessary. I was like, I call all my energy back to myself and I am going to spend my energy, my intellect, my creativity. I'm going to spend this all on myself. And I am going to level up. I am going to glow up. I am going to elevate. And I'm going to make like my foundation stronger. Because a lot of times I call them parasitic connections. A lot of times when you are caught up in parasitic connections, you are being depleted every single day. The depletion a lot of times is so slow and you don't think you're being depleted because you get the praise, right? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I don't know what I would do without you. Oh, you're a blessing. I came up in faith community, so that was what I heard all the time. Oh, you're such a blessing. Oh, you're such a gift from God. Let me tell you something. As nice as those things are to hear, they don't replenish you. There's a difference between being praised, being appreciated, and being replenished. And I figured that out in my 40s. Didn't know it in my 20s, didn't know it in my 30s. I figured that out in my 40s. There is a big difference. I'm not saying that the praise isn't valid. I'm not saying the appreciation isn't real, but they are not the same as replenishment. So you can be highly appreciated and still depleted. Yes, you can be highly appreciated. You can be honored. They give you the seat of honor. They make a big announcement publicly. Oh, we wouldn't be where we are without this person. That doesn't actually replenish you. And so you remain in a depleted state, but like you're this useful person to everyone around you. Yeah, I shut it down. Mhm. I shut it down. I shut it all the way down. Yeah. And I'm still catching heat. I'm still, I'm still catching bullets till today. Yeah. Because, like, if there's one thing human beings hate, it's a change in the status quo. Okay. Don't be switching up the status quo. Don't be switching up what we've gotten accustomed to from you. Yeah. So I know you asked about barriers, but like that one that I just shared was the biggest one. And it was all up here. It was all up here. Once I did that, once I called my energy, my intellect, my intelligence, my aura, my creativity, my energy, once I called it all back to myself and started spending all that on myself, yeah, like all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm exhausted, I'm no longer exhausted. Oh, I'm unmotivated, I'm no longer unmotivated. Oh, I don't think I can make it. No, now I think I can make it. Yeah, like it's just like you, yeah, and you will catch every accusation. you know this is what I say about feeling yourself and not falling for the accusation of selfishness. Okay, imagine that this bottle is like your life, your vessel. This is your vessel, like your being, your vessel, right? And let's imagine that the water inside is your energy, your intellect, your intelligence, your creativity, your aura, everything that people benefit from you, right? All the stuff, right? That all your magic. Yes, let's imagine that's the water, right? I don't have it here, but just imagine with me. If there's no outlet at all on this bottle, that is actually selfishness. A lot of times we get accused of being selfish when we're not selfish. And I want to break it down because this might liberate a few of you mentally. If there's no outlet at all along the length of this bottle, then that is true selfishness, right? Because there's no outlet. But for many of us, that isn't the fact. The truth is there is an outlet. The question is, at what level is the outlet? And I submit to you, I know for me, I lived this way for many years. The outlet of your life is down here. Just imagine a spout coming out down here. That's how a lot of us are living. It's down here. So the minute you get any inflow, the minute you get any inflow, the minute you get any investment, right? It could be energy, it could be financial, whatever, right? The minute there's like an investment, an inflow into your vessel, it's already flowing out because your spout is down here. For some of us, it's here, right? For some of us, it's here. For many of us, if not all of us, it's somewhere in the bottom half. What I did, okay, I didn't cut the spout off. Sometimes you get so frustrated, you get so burnt out, you want to cut the spout off. That's not what I did, okay? What I did was I moved it to the very top, like right here. Like right here, like at the top. Like if it was any higher, it wouldn't be like stuck to the bottle anymore. I moved it to the very top. And what that ensured is that in terms of my replenishment, it was always the highest. When you move your spout from under to above, you will catch every accusation of being selfish, self-centered. I'm here to tell you it's not. That's like a trigger that, the people that are no longer having the access they're used to, it's triggering them. And that's why they're making the accusations. But those accusations are baseless because the only true selfishness is the absence of a spout completely. Then we can start talking about ain't nobody, And if that's how you want to live, I don't even judge that. So when I say selfish, I'm not saying it like in a morally superior way. I'm just saying there's an absence of a spout. And if that's what you need, then have at it. Sometimes we need that, at least temporarily. We just need to shut everyone. Sometimes it depends on the extent of the depletion, right? It depends on the extent of the emptiness. Yeah. I moved my spout all the way to the top and I caught every accusation. But you know what? I mean, most, if not everyone, adjusted. And now so if I'm not replenished, nothing is coming out. And that allows me to focus on my replenishment, right? So it doesn't matter how loud the voice is. It doesn't matter how urgent. Okay, if I am not replenished, nothing is coming out. And this was huge for me because I came up in faith community. I came up hearing the kind of refrains and the kind of sayings that make this standard a no-no. So it was huge for me. It wasn't easy. I caught so much. And still today, I still catch. I'm just so much better at handling the accusations, right? And the indictments. I'm so much better at handling them. Yes. So thank you for that question because I really wanted to do it justice. Yes. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Landon, what was your fasting schedule? I will share. So when I started with this pillar of my 3-pillar protocol, the third pillar, I had experimented with IF before. So I had experimented with like 16 hours, not eating and then 8 hours fed, or 18 hours not feeding and then 6 hours. So I had experimented with those. I had experimented with OMAD. OMAD is one meal a day. I had experimented with OMAD. I had also experimented with alternate day, FASTNG. And so, you're fed one day and you're not the next. And then the third day you're fed. And then the fourth day you're not. I had experimented with all of those. Every single one of those protocols failed. And I'll tell you why. They failed for me because whenever the eating window opened, whether it was a 6-hour eating window, an 8-hour eating window, a 2-hour eating window, whatever, whenever the eating window opened, I would eat like there was no tomorrow. So, I would eat the equivalent of 3 days of food. So then it's like, it just defeats the purpose. Yeah. It didn't matter whether it was the 18:6, the 16:8, the 24, the 22:2, the 23:1, the alternate, it didn't matter. When the window to eat opened, I was just all over the place. So the protocol that I followed finally, and I stick to till this day, is 36 hours once a week. Sometimes I extend it to 48 hours. So 36 hours. So right now, my schedule is I will have an early dinner on Wednesday, and then my next meal is Friday morning.